So I didn't realize that there are apparently women involved in your human trafficking gang.
Yeah, in this organized criminal gang. So what you have to understand is this. They didn't want the case file, the evidence to be that I manipulated people by being nice to them, to make TikTok videos. That's not what they wanted. They put me all over the news. They searched every house I own in the country with armed men. They were looking for victims of something. Yes. They were looking for scorned ex-girlfriends. Any woman to come forward and say that she was hurt by me. They were looking for real evidence. The fact that the case file is so laughable now is just because real evidence doesn't exist. So when you have no real evidence, you go for junk evidence. You try to make your case on human trafficking based on, well, they were nice to these girls on TikTok. And these are girls who would say to me, hey, share my post on Instagram. I'll be like, yeah, no problem. So, because I'm a big social media guy. I don't know a single person when I had Instagram, from my cameraman to my personal trainer, who didn't ask me to blow them up on Instagram. But that is now the link they have between me and these people, saying that they're human trafficked, even though these people, defend me. But there are 2 women involved, yes. My personal assistant and her friend got thrown in prison with me. Essentially, their crime was inviting one of the alleged victims to a birthday party that I wasn't even at, that happened in this house. That's how they tied them in.
How long were these 2 women in prison?
The same 92 days. The same 92 days. The worst part...
Have they been charged?
Yeah, along with us. They're part of the organized criminal gang, which is hilarious because Luana, one of the girls, has never, ever, in the whole 6 years I've known her, had a conversation with Andrew once. They don't know each other. Andrew didn't even know her name. And she's apparently a part of this organized criminal gang. The interesting part is, do you remember Christopher Hitchens when he was alive?
I knew him well.
Oh, well, I've never met the guy, but I read an article he did for Vanity Fair about 11 or 12 years ago, where he volunteered to be waterboarded to test the effectiveness of torture on foreign prisoners. And the conclusion he came to was, in the article, and I remembered it vividly when I was in jail, if you don't have the answer to their questions and you are being tortured, you can psychologically break. You have to be torturing people who do know the answers. Otherwise, this isn't an effective mode of operating. And essentially, the way I look at the way these 2 women were treated was they were locked in prison because they know us. They're an attack vector on us. One is my personal assistant, so she knows everything I do. She does airport pickups, pays my electricity bills. And every week or so, they had the keys of freedom dangled in front of them. Are you ready to tell us about the Tate's criminal activities now? And they said no, and they stayed in prison. The next week, you ready to tell us about the criminal activities that the Tate brothers did? And the problem is, they can't have told the police about criminal activities that I take part in, because those criminal activities don't exist. So I see it as a method of psychological torture. I'm not mad I was sent to jail. Any notions of being angry at injustice and stuff that I truly have in my soul is for those 2 girls who went to jail with me, because they didn't deserve it. I mean, I've probably done something in my life that made me deserve something. These are 2 wonderful people, and they were sent to prison with me. One for having the crime of being my personal assistant, and one for the crime of knowing me and showing up at parties where these alleged victims who say they weren't victims were at. And they're charged in this organized criminal gang.
But to be clear, none of the charges pertain to sex,
no,
rape,
no,
selling anyone,
no,
slavery, moving people across international borders to pimp them out.
No, but that's certainly what they would have wanted. It's not the fact that, as I said, the evidence is junk because they now have to put a case together.
But I'm confused as to how what you're being accused of constitutes human trafficking.
Well, it's a very loose law. It's a very,
But the term doesn't seem to have a real definition.
No, it doesn't, especially when you understand that the Romanian alleged victims, who say they're not victims, have lived in this country for 10 to 15 years before I ever showed up here.
You'll hear people say the news is full of lies.
In Kennedy's motorcade.
239 people. The death of Jeffrey Epstein.